Hey folks, welcome back to another Battle Report, and this time it's my Tomb Kings up against the Lizardmen. This is still part of our slow grow, but whether we're continuing it is unsure, because we were in another lockdown. That's why it's taken a while for me to do this one. I'm trying to save it and spread them out while I can. So let's say this is 2k. Hopefully I got all my Lizardmen. I didn't get them all finished, unfortunately. There's some bases still to do and a couple of salamanders, but other than that, all my Lizardmen are pretty much there. And yeah, up against the Tomb Kings, so it'll be a bit of an interesting fight. So let's have a quick look at the lists. So for my 2k, we have my Lizardmen, and we start with the source, Old Blood, who has Shield, Charm of the Jaguar Warrior, War of Quetzal, Blessed One is a Sotek and Quetzal, meaning to get better arm saves. He's got a 1-up save in close combat, he's got a 9-inch move, and he's got a 4-up ward save against attacks of strength 5 or more. Got Scar Veteran then, with Shield, Blessing of Quetzal, Sword of Might, and the Glyph Necklace. That's +1 strength and a 5-up ward save, and an extra save as well, yes, from the Blessing. So again, he's got a 1-up save in combat and a 5-up ward. And we have two Skink Priests, one as Dispel Scroll Caddy, one with the Diadem of Power, which allows you to store some power or dispel dice for the following turn, 19 Saurists, 20 Saurists, 2 lots of 10 Skink Skirmishers with Blowpipes, 4 Crocscore, a Stegodon, and then 3 Salamanders just to finish off. Then for my opponent, he has the Tomb Kings. He starts off with the Tomb Prince with the Spear of Antark, which basically is the one every wound he causes regains the wound to the unit he is part of. He has a Chariot, Light Armour, and Enchanted Shield. He then has 3 Leech Priests, one with the Golden Anchor, which gives, I think, a 4+ ward save. And then that's also his Hierophants, that's why he's got some protection. And then one on a steed, and then just another one on foot. He's then got 2 units of 10 skeleton bowmen, 2 units of 20 skeletons with light armor, shield, and spear, each with a standard in it. 2 tomb swarms, which do the underground advance. 20 tomb guard with the banner of Undying Legion, which is bound level 3 and basically allows them to regenerate d6 wounds. 3 carrion. 2 lots of 3 chariots, each with a standard, and finally the Screaming Skull Catapult. So, looking at my opponent's left-hand side, my right, he has a unit of 10 bowmen, and then 3 chariots, which also has his priest in it. No, his priest is Tomb Prince. Behind him, there's a Tomb Scorpion now. He's not part of the army, but he's on the edge of the table there. That's his defense objective that I've got to try and get to. And his 2 Scorpion Swarms behind it, again, are doing an underground advance. And in the centre, on the hill, he has another 10 bowmen, and with his Hierophant in it. His Tomb Guard are the red-crested guys in the centre there. Then he's got a unit of spearmen with another Leech Priest in it, and you can just about see the Screaming Skull Catapult onto the left there. These skeletons, by the way, are the ones from War Games Atlantic. Then over to his right, we have his Screaming Skull Catapult, another unit of 20 spearmen with a banner, his priest that's on a skeletal steed, 3 carrion, and 3 chariots. The chariots themselves, again, they're the original chariot itself is the Games Workshop Tomb King's chariot. The horses are 3D printed, and I think the riders are mostly made up of the War Games Atlantic guys. There might be some originals in there, I'm not sure. Over to my side, on my right hand side, we have a unit of 10 skinks with blowpipes, my spellcaster skink priest, he's the scroll caddy chap. I have 4 crocs. You see the new guy just needs his base done now. The bright white is because I use filler on the bases and then I paint over the filler, so that's why it looks quite intense and snowy. So into my centre we have a unit of 19 Saurists with my hero in it, and that is my Jaguar Pendant hero, a 9-inch move. And we have 3 Salamanders going happy for that water feature with their skink handlers behind them. And then I have another unit, this is my unit of 20 Saurists, and that's have my hero, a Scarvet, Scarvet, the other one's an Old Blood. And then there's a little objective that unit's carrying. I should have mentioned it on the other one, the skeleton's got on. Basically, you've got to try and hold on to one objective that you walk around with the unit, and the opponent's got to try and grab it. You get bonus points for taking the opponent's, keeping yours. And the pond at the back is my little base that he's got to get to. So that's my centre. And then on the left-hand side there, I have my other 10 blowpipe skinks with my other priest, and that is the model for the old Tehenuin. So he's got my diadem of power, and then finally on the far left is my Stegodon. As you see in this, also behind my skinks there is a scorpion. That's his marker for where his tomb scorpion swarms will appear at some point. So I move up, as you can see here. This is I get first turn. The idea is on the right hand side, my skinks are going to be the ones that go around the flank and hopefully take out his home objective. And in the centre there, I'm really happy with where my Crocs are set up against the Tomb Prince's chariots. I reckon I could probably take a charge, and if I do, obviously my Crocs are strength 7, so they should be able to smash parts of the chariots, even if they only get 1 or 2 attacks through. In the centre, everyone just marches up. I'm not really afraid of any skellies. I think I can beat them in combat with my multiple attacks and my heroes joining the units. The only problem I have is if I do end up losing for a flank charge. So I've got to use my skirmishers, such as my salamanders there, just to protect the flanks of my Saurus. So they'll go up there and just pin up that centre unit of skellies. I'm also worried about his shooting from his Screaming Skull catapult, so I'll try and put some magic into that, and also try and stop him from casting it twice, because of course he has the ability to be able to shoot twice. With the help of Second Sign, I managed to kill off one of the carrion from the great bow from my Stegodon. So my opponent walks up pretty cautiously in his turn. As you can see, not much seems to have gone too far forwards. But on the top side there, you can see the carrion have moved in behind to where my skirmishers are and where my second wizard is. So he'll be scarpering out of there in my turn. I don't think the rest of it, he's just going to see what his shooting can do to me. I mean, he's got his 20 bowmen on one side with chariots, and he's got his Screaming Skull catapult, and he's got his other chariots as well. So there's enough firepower there, especially if you can get his Screaming Skull catapult to fire twice. If I don't mention the effects of the Screaming Skull catapult, it's because unfortunately during this game it didn't do a lot. I managed to stop most of the second times it fired. It misfired once, and I think it scattered off my troops. It might have killed like 1 or 2 Saurus, but that was about it. So after all the shooting is said and done, my Crocs, who take 20 arrows, and I think I'll allow another set of arrows to be fired twice, just because I didn't want them doing any other tricksy stuff. Yeah, I think 1 wound went through, so my Crocs are doing all right. I tend to show all the wounds left if you see any of my guys. In my turn, I move up pretty cautiously as well. The centre there is at the point where some of us might get a charge off, but we're not really sure. But I thought I'll use my shooting to my advantage now, so I'll have my Sallies and my Skinks all firing, and my Steg at the top there will be taking a shot at one of the chariots. Again, I have my magic too, but wasn't the most effective during this game. My Sallies let rip and managed to knock out 5 skellies. I was alright. I was hoping for a bit more, but I'm not going to argue because I don't think I ate any of my own. Nope. So it's looking good there for these Sallies. And I think that's how we're looking at the end of my turn. So I can see you got a couple of wounds there on the carrion. I was hoping to kill one of the carrion off, but I had no luck there. Down the bottom, again, my skinks didn't seem to do any damage to the skellies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I think there's 10 still there. So yeah, no damage against them either, so that was pretty disappointing. So in my opponent's turn, yep, we're starting to get some charges off now. So the chariots come charging into my Crocs. As I say, I think I've got a pretty good chance. I mean, with 4 chariots, you've got an average of 8 impact hits. Was that 40? I think it's about 8 impact hits. So only half of those wounds, that's 4 wounds, and obviously if half of those 2 will go through. And then you've got the skellies and the hero. I should have at least 2 Crocs left, and that should smash up hopefully at least 2, maybe 3 of the chariots, and then of course combat res then should really help out. In the centre there's a bit of a risk there, but actually my hero ends up out of combat, I think, or just corner to corner combat. I think, yeah, that's what it is, because it's got a maximise. So my hero has got a risk of 1 attack coming towards him, and of course these 2 guard have killing blow, so that's kept me a bit on edge, but everywhere else, everything else held, and they fell charged. So again, my opponent does the opposite with his... no, he's got 1 wound left on one of his carrion, I think that's correct. So he charges in here. There's nothing I could do. I was so close. I couldn't flee. I'd only be caught, and I couldn't stand and shoot either. I'm just hoping with so many in base contact, so I've got 6 base contact, he's not going to kill off that many, and I can sneak a wound through, or maybe 2, and just hold there. This is just how we're looking in the centre. This is the Tomb Guard against my Saurus. So we worked out the combat res. Yep, he went in and managed to kill off 2 of the croc scores. 2 croc scores came back and I think killed 3 chariots, which gave me 9 wounds, which is enough to kill off the other chariot of the Tomb Prince. But the Tomb Prince is still alive. He'll just be put down next to one of my crocs in a minute. First of all, we thought we killed him off, but then of course they had wounds on the chariot and wounds on him himself as 2 separate things. So that's ideal. So he still had the wounds left to fight on. In the centre against the Tomb Guard, I managed to win the combat. He issued a challenge, my champion stepped forwards. I didn't want to risk a killing blow, just even though it's only 2 attacks against my Scarvet. Not Scarvet, my Old Blood. And lucky enough, it was a good call because he actually killing blowed off my champion. And then with the amount of attacks I've got left, it wasn't as good as I thought. Them being toughness 4 meant they shrugged off most of it. My Lord is only strength 5 as well. So I wasn't a mass of kills going through there, but we did win the combat and starting to crumble them. On the left hand side, my skinks did me so proud. My opponent came in and he killed 1 skink. And with my attacks back, I actually managed to do a whole... I think these guys got 3 wounds, or might only be 2 wounds each. But anyway, yeah, I got a wound, so it was a wound each. Which finished off one of them. And then, of course, I outnumber him now. So I won by 1. Yeah, that's right. And so he's still there, but he is crumbling, which is fantastic. Go Skinks. So at the end of my opponent's turn, this is how we're looking overall on the board. Okay, so in my turn, I decide to charge everywhere I can, pretty much. As you can see, I've actually lapped round with my crocs, because I remember I could in this edition, so my crocs have lapped round his Tomb Prince. And then you can see my sallies went in against the skellies. I did this just to guard my flanks of my Saurus. And, these guys have got 2 strength 5 attacks each, which is nothing to sniff at. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. So I reckon I could do a good couple of wounds running through there. On the top side, of course they cause fear as well, so I don't have to worry about any fear tests. And then on the top side, my large block of Saurus also go in. And then right at the top, my Stegodon goes in. So yeah, it was a big charge for me this round. So yeah, here's my the croc scores black round here to take on his prince, and his prince doesn't do anything else to me, and I just wail on him and beat the hell out of him, which was fantastic. But I then went and failed my, cold-blooded leadership 7 check and failed and lost D6 wounds. So now I'm down to a 1 wound croc score. I couldn't believe that. So in the centre here, yeah, I go to town on these Tomb Guard and give them a good pounding. I believe what do you call it? My Saurus Vet actually accepted the challenge with his chap, mainly because I have, 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, so I was pretty sure I could kill him, and he did really well. I might have had some second sign on this one, just to give me a few extra attacks going through, but we gave him a good blitzing and beat them in combat, and they've started to crumble quite well. In the centre, my sallies went in, did a few casualties. I think I actually didn't do... Oh, that's right. I combined one of my sallies to put his attacks onto his Leech Priest. That's why I went in, because he had his Leech Priest in the front there. And with help of a second sign, re-rolled on my hits, and I was wounding on 2s then with my 2 attacks. I managed to kill him. He had no defensive stuff, and didn't do much else. My opponent didn't do anything to me, but thanks to static combat res of ranks outnumbering banner and such, my guys fled, and he pursued. It's not the end of the world. He's now not got any view to the flank of either of my Saurus, so I've pulled them out of the way, and my guys can hopefully run for a little bit and then rally. Where I charged on the other side, again, plenty of attacks. I got a hero in there, gave them a good blitzing. As you can see, he's got a little pile of skulls in behind. That's because that's the unit that's carrying his special objectives. Same as mine's got a little glyph in behind theirs. Went in, did plenty of casualties, combat res, smashed up the rest of them. So things are looking good. Hopefully in the next turn I should be able to mop these units up. The Skinks, being the legends they are, managed to kill off the carrion. And over on the left hand side, my Stegodon absolutely goes to town here. He gets, I think, 6 impact hits, does a bunch of wounds. The Stegodon strikes, does a couple more wounds. The Skinks try and strike, maybe done another wound. But there was 2 chariots dead before the last chariot got to do anything. And of course then with combat res, that just fried that last chariot, which is fantastic. So I've now broken through on this side. So I forgot to take a picture of the overall view, so we're back onto my opponent's turn. He charges my chaps here, who just obviously have to flee because they're already fleeing, so they're scarping towards my board edge rather quick, which is a bit of a shame really, because that's now put them outside of their leadership of my general, who's wasn't too far away from them. On the other side, I can't believe it, I'm trying to flank here to get his Tomb Scorpion, which is his objective that I've got to try and grab. This is my one unit that could probably reach it in the time. And yeah, he shot at me, and I fell my good old Leadership 5 skink, who then flee straight off the table as well. On the left flank there, my Saurus mop up the last of the Skellies. Claim another banner there, and his objective. As the overall view of the map at the end of his turn, save my Saurus and Steg at the top there, and Skinks are all free. His poor, what do you call them? Tomb Scorpions, or Tomb Swarms, sorry, still haven't appeared at the top there. He's got a dice to remember to roll and what to roll. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Elsewhere, I've also down to 2 on his Tomb Guardians with my main unit, so my turn I should finish them off. So yeah, in my turn, they clear up the last of the Tomb Guard. My Steg and my Saurus are starting to move around the top edge there, heading towards his catapult. The Skinks take some shots at that unit of Skellies. I think that's all from there. Yeah, me pushing up the crop score didn't really pay off, because of course with all those archers there, he managed to get the one hit wound through that he needed. I think on the far side his skeletons just turned around, and he did some more shooting. I think he might have got a couple of wounds off my general's unit of Saurus, but that was about it. I know in one of the pictures later on, I did forget to notice that the Screaming Skull catapult was actually facing the wrong way, and that was the turn that it obviously misfired and couldn't fire for another turn as well. So that was 2 rounds of shooting it couldn't have done anyway. I really want to do a Southlands army, but my ability to roll Leadership 5s is really pants. So yeah, my chaps didn't rally, and they had fell off the board. In the Magic Phase, Dehenowin managed to get off a Uran's Thunderbolt and fries his priest on horseback, so that leaves him with only his high priest now. Sorry, it's a normal Lich priest, but it's Hierophant, so good job for him. In the centre, the Screaming Skull catapult is destroyed by my unit who charges it this turn, and you see at the top there I charge out with my hero, and the Saurus warriors turn to the left to face the incoming skeletons. My hero is going to do a last grab charge to try and take out his Hierophant. I don't know why I was in such a rush to do this. It's because he's got the Jaguar pendant. My opponent hates him so much for being able to do this. I felt that I needed to, but there he goes. A quick snap of the centre there, see how it is looking. All the left hand flank has been mopped up, and just his 1 block of Skellies left. So my opponent manages to, in his turn, shoot at my hero, but doesn't do any wounds to him, and of course charges here as well. But my Lizardmen give them a good damn seeing to, and smash them up pretty well and proper. In my turn, I finish them all off, and that's the end of the other skeleton block. And this is the last picture of the game here of him just chasing my Saurus hero off the table, or not off the table, away. I did actually charge into his skeletons. I don't know why I did it. His as you see, just see his sword of his priest just sticking around the corner there. He'd already moved off. There's no advantage for my hero to charge in, so of course I charge in. I was thinking, 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, winning on 2s. I should blitz up loads, win the combat, they'll crumble. But yeah, I didn't go in and did that well. I had no second signs up, and it just went awfully terrible. And of course I was outnumbered by fear causing enemy, so I fled. He couldn't catch me because luckily I flee 3d6, but I am fleeing at the end of the game, and so that gives away his victory points for my hero, and the bonuses for obviously my general fleeing at the end of the game. So that was a waste of points there. So that's definitely 2 things in this game that I could have done better, just looking where I'm putting my points, and if they actually need to be there. Crossbow is a good example. He could have moved to the back, and that would have saved me half the points for my Crocs unit, which is a fair bit, and then yeah, my Saurus hero here. Yeah, there's no need for me to give away his points. But thankfully at the end of the game, with the points all scored, I had managed to get a massacre anyway. I had the 2 objectives. Oh, his scorpions turned up and did steal my pond away from me. You can just see a scorpion at the top left hand side there. So he did get that. I didn't get his, but I managed to grab his objective, and I'm still holding my my one as well. And then I got all 3 banners as well, which was like another 300 victory points. So yeah, it all came down. I think it was either a solid victory or a massacre. I think it might have been a solid victory, and then with the bonus points it went up to a massacre. So yeah, it was a good game. I think I played them as well as I could here. I was managing to stop all the movement spells. I didn't want to go off and had to just put up with the shots and firing from elsewhere. But all in all, my Lizard's done well, and I'm looking forward to the next game. Hopefully it's 2,500 points, but we'll have to see, because obviously we're in a new lockdown now, and we'll see what occurs with it. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. Farewellis.